Boozy Spirits. We are excited. We are at My Adobe. Is that how you say it?
Adobe? I don't know. That's not Spanish.
Isn't that like a software company or something?
I think so.
Okay. We're at my house.
We're in Silicon Valley.
And we have a special guest today.
Special, yep.
All the way from, very special. All the way from Huntsville now? Is that where you call home?
That's where I call home.
Jim Page, former CEO and president of our beloved Chamber of Commerce for 10 years or so.
A little over 11. Hard to believe.
Yeah, that is a long time. So we're here with Jim Page, and we're just drinking. And he's going to tell us what's going on in his life, and
then we'll get into it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, first of all, cheers.
Cheers.
Officially to everybody.
Yes.
I've done a little bit of media over the years, but I can honestly say I hadn't been as excited about doing something as I have this week, knowing I was going to be doing this podcast. So I'm honored to be here. Anything you can do while tasting new bourbon is a good thing. So
that is true. That's me and Justin. We talked
that's
about
fantastic.
Isn't it good?
Yeah.
Dread River.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Alabama made. That makes me proud. But that's good. So anyway, yeah. Thanks for having me. I told you guys a little while ago. I've been listening since y'all kicked this thing off last year, and it's kind of helped me stay connected in a way to what's going on down here, and hear from some of my good friends that have been on the show. You know, Walt, Ryan, Tripp. There's been a whole host of folks on the show. So
We need to start using Jim to get some more people.
glad to be added to that.
Yeah.
So
Jim's got the connections now.
So I can. I will be a producer for whiskey. How about that? Is that
There you go.
that fair?
That works.
So, but anyway, yeah. We, my wife and girls and I, were here for a little over 11 years. It came home. Loved what I did at the chamber. Loved living in Tuscaloosa. It will always be our second home at this point.
Right.
But as y'all know, got a great opportunity last year to go back home to North Alabama, get closer to my family, my wife's family, let her girls grow up around grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins.
Yeah.
Again, it was a great career opportunity for me, and it was the hardest decision I've probably ever made in my life was leaving the chamber, because I loved what I did there, loved our team, but it's like a football coach, or it's like an athlete in a way. You want to leave while you're winning.
At the top.
You want to leave while you feel like you're on top.
Yeah.
You don't want to be walked to the door because you've had a couple of losing seasons.
That's true.
And coming off the heels of COVID, and we won Chamber of the Year in 21.
I mean, that's as high as you can get, honestly, for the chamber.
Yeah, it's like winning a natty, you know.
Yes.
And so, but just this community is just kind of clicking on all cylinders. The chamber's in it's the best shape it's ever been. There's great people in leadership positions. With Giovanni being chair this year.
Sure.
So
Awesome.
Anyway, it was like it can't get any better than this probably. So this is the timing is just perfect for me to hand the baton, and a win-win for everybody. But I can tell you, man, we miss T-Town, we miss our friends, and so getting to come back and hang out with friends and see everybody and spend the weekend is a blessing. So
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people here that miss you and your family, because you had a major impact on this area.
Thank you. I know they
continue to do.
I know they miss the family, so miss Sarah and the girls. But as we said before we left, we will be back early and often, and we have been. We've come back a lot. We've seen friends. We stay in touch with folks. I'm still on a lot of useless text chains with guys, and still talking local politics and Alabama football and all that. So it's good. So I still feel connected, which is helpful.
You doing some undercover boss while you're here?
Undercover boss would be fun. Yeah, that'd be great.
I think everybody knows what you look like, but we can disguise you. Go visit the chamber, just walk in there.
Yeah.
You saw us. You weren't there at the chamber thing, or you would have seen his
I wasn't there.
disguise.
So yeah, huge shout out to my boy Kyle South, who I couldn't be more excited that he took the reins for me. But he wanted me to come back and do a cameo for the chamber annual meeting, so I had fun with that. Matt, you were in it.
Awesome.
So it was fun. It was
Had a
fun.
good
It
time.
was fun to do that. So I'm proud of him, proud of Alicia and the whole team there at the chamber. They're keeping on. So,
They are.
We were trying to get Kyle to come today, but he's busy golfing.
of course he is. It's 70-degree weather.
Dude, but he's like he's like
He's like
an
a two
amazing
handicap.
golfer.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't go play golf with him if you paid me.
Man, that doesn't matter though. He should have came anyway.
I could drink and drive his freaking cart
We're
around.
gonna get him to wrestle.
Exactly.
That would have been good to wrestle.
That would have been viral right there.
Exactly. No doubt. No doubt.
So, what about not being at the chamber thing this year, not having to deal with all that? Was that... Because I know that's got to be stressful, because that's y'all's big freaking...
Yeah, I'd like to think I was always a pretty laid-back guy and enjoyed the process and all that. But if I ever got really wound up about something, it was about the annual meeting. Because, that's the biggest event of the year.
Yep.
You got a lot of folks in the community, and for a lot of folks, that's the one thing they come to a year. And so you kind of have one opportunity to... to roll out a good product that night. So I did miss kind of the event itself, but not having the stress leading up to it. I'm glad to hand that over to somebody else. But everybody I've talked to had rave reviews about it, which I knew that would happen. So I'm happy for them. So it's kind of the best of both worlds where I am now is I get to come back to Tuscaloosa and enjoy all the great parts of the community, see friends, enjoy it, and have a good time. But
and not have to stress about it.
But not have to maybe necessarily deal with some of the politics and some of the tougher parts of the job. So it's really is kind of the best of both worlds. So.
It really is.
I could see that. Just relaxing.
And I was always pretty candid, probably much to my own detriment. But I can really be candid now.
That is true. So, but you always were. I mean, you always put it out there like it should be.
Yeah.
I think. And a lot of people don't do that. And I think when your heart's in it and your intentions are pure, which mine always were. It was to make the community better, to make the pie bigger for everybody, which not everybody likes. But that was kind of my MO. That sometimes you have to call a spade a spade. You have to call it like it is, and some like that, some don't. But no regrets on my part. Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
definitely. So what are you doing now? Tell us.
Yeah, I don't want to bore anybody, but I joined a really cool company of some guys that are friends of mine. They were really kind of working on me for a couple of years to join their team, and it wasn't the right time and all that. And then finally, timing and opportunity kind of aligned. But went to work for a government contractor in Huntsville, which is pretty common in Huntsville. Yeah. It's a big federal community and all that. But this is a smaller company. It was started in 2007, so in a lot of ways, it's still kind of a startup. Now we've got almost 200 employees. But it's still kind of a startup in that space. But we've got folks in several states around the country, again, doing government contracting. Our biggest customers are with NASA. We've got really, really smart people that do stuff that I can't even spell. I'm not the technical guy. I'm more of a government relations and kind of biz dev person. But I guess putting it down there where the goats can get it like me, we've got guys that work with astronauts on the space station every day from ground, helping manage their payload operations, helping them manage their the scientific experiments that are going on, and all that. So 24/7, we've got folks engaged with the space station right there on the ground from Huntsville, Alabama. That's crazy. Which is super cool.
It is.
Our cyber team also runs the Security Operations Center for all of NASA. So I think 7 NASA sites around the country, we've got guys, again, 24/7, 365 that are doing, protecting from cyber attacks. Yeah. Again, based on, coming out of a little company there in Huntsville, Alabama. So it's pretty cool. We've got guys that run the fire research lab for the ATF out of Maryland. If there's a big federal arson investigation, we've got a lab there that can basically rebuild a scene. Say it's a hotel fire, for example. They can reconstruct that hotel in this building and then burn it to the ground.
That's crazy.
And that evidence
sounds fun.
That evidence can be used in federal court.
Yeah, that's almost went into arson investigating.
Really?
I got a criminal justice degree.
And you had the criminal justice degree, but that's cool.
That's what I was looking into before I got into the restaurant.
So we've got guys supporting the ATF, and then we've got guys supporting DoD, training National Guard recruiters in Little Rock, Arkansas. And then what I'm spending a lot of my time on, and you talk about a learning curve, I'm kind of like Geo, being computer challenged. Yeah. But we bought a company in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, right outside of Knoxville, where the Oak Ridge National Lab is. I've heard of that my whole life, but didn't have a clue what it was. But it's a huge Department of Energy site, the world's fastest supercomputer sitting right there. And so we've got a contract to run the IT there at the lab.
and so that company that we acquired is part of that. And so in fact, I've spent a couple of days in Oak Ridge this week. But talking about like world-renowned scientific research going on here, a lot of nuclear non-proliferation work going on there. And I'm like, man, I'm not qualified to have these conversations. What am I doing? But
what are you even talking about?
I'm trying to help, from the business side. But it's cool. I have made a complete pivot in my career, but it's I think y'all know me well enough to know that I'm pretty mission driven, and I don't want just a job. I want to do something that's
want a challenge.
That's making a difference in helping people, and I certainly could see that every day at the chamber. Now I'm just working for a company that's really helping try to keep our country safe and secure and all that from foreign threat and all that. So again, I'm not qualified to talk about it a lot in depth, but it is cool to know I'm working for
qualified or classified.
Either, but it's cool to work for a company though that's got that kind of national, making an impact on our country.
Definitely.
So not to be cheesy and hokey, but it's cool.
Man, it's cool.
That is.
I'm a proud American, so
Exactly.
Glad to be doing my part and work for a company doing that.
And that's got to be a bigger and bigger part, the cybersecurity and all that. Just because it's just technology is
100%.
That's the next war, probably.
It is
in the cyber world.
You're exactly right. I mean, obviously, we're always going to have boots on the ground and military combat around the world, but the next frontier of war is, a foreign adversary trying to hack into our utilities,
Shutting
down computers, shutting down our
internet, satellites,
shutting down commerce. That's what we're worried about now, and so it's cool being in Huntsville because in a lot of ways Huntsville is at the epicenter of our national security. We always kind of knew that, inherently. It has been since World War II, but it really is now. There's some crazy cool stuff going up there and a lot of smart people.
Yeah. A lot of cool stuff, too.
A lot of cool stuff.
Breweries. Super cool freaking breweries.
Man, it's awesome. I'm getting to look at a community. And Matt, this. You and Nikki would go on all of our benchmarking trips to other communities. And so now I'm kind of looking at Huntsville kind of with that lens. Still kind of wearing my Tuscaloosa hat.
Right.
But I've been really impressed with what Huntsville has done to grow that cool factor, grow that quality of life space. I know you talked to Mayor Maddox on this podcast about what's happened here in T-Town, and it was a blessing to be a part of some of that.
Yep.
But it's cool to see what Huntsville's done. I mean, they've got some different pockets of things going on, really investing in diversity of entertainment. And there's just some cool places to drink. There's some cool places to eat.
And you've got to keep that young, because those are young employees that are there.
100%. Yeah. You're trying to hire these, young smart whippersnappers from all over the country to come work for NASA or for Army or some high tech firm.
Yeah.
They want all that. They want a place to go and have a good drink, and be able to have craft beer, and have cool stuff to do. Have cool concerts coming in. So the Orion Amphitheater, which really was modeled in a lot of ways, I think, after the Mercedes Amphitheater now. So I've enjoyed some shows there, and one thing I'm pretty excited about is actually hot off the presses this week is I got appointed to the Huntsville Music Board.
Nice.
They've one thing Mayor Battle has been pretty forward thinking about is using music as an economic development priority.
Absolutely.
Like when you look at their community's economic development priorities, obviously it's it's high tech, et cetera, et cetera. Music is one of the pillars that the city and the chamber have. So they've gone out and hired a guy that's Matt Mandrella's his name, and they call him the music czar. But he works for the city, but his job is to grow the music ecosystem, just like an entrepreneurial ecosystem. Grow the music ecosystem, and that includes the Orion, but it includes the VBC, the Civic Center. It includes smaller venues, for artists. They've got some incentives to help artists, which is I've never seen that happen before.
Awesome.
And then you probably saw the announcement last fall that Huntsville has hired the firm that does Bonnaroo, does all the big Lollapalooza and all that. They're working with the city now, and I'm going to get to work with them on this music board of bringing a huge music festival to Huntsville. It's probably going to start in 25, but it'll be at John Hunn Park, and that's a massive, massive park. So you're talking,
awesome.
I mean, the city's investing significant resources just in the management of this. And so there's going to be some. I think the Huntsville Music Festival is going to be up there with the Montaroos and everybody else.
Wow. That's exciting.
So pretty excited about that. That's been a big personal win for me because. When I've talked to Matt and the folks, I was like, I love music. You know that.
Oh, I know that.
We've talked music for years. Just a personal passion of mine. But music's got an economic development benefit. It's got a workforce development benefit.
And a lot of cities, I feel like, don't see that.
They don't get that. They don't get that.
Nashville and Austin revolve. Austin not so much now, but Nashville revolves around music.
Yeah, and they got that years ago. And Florence,
that whole area revolves around music, and they embrace it.
They do. They really do embrace it.
Hopefully now, maybe with the Mercedes coming in, the amphitheater will help bring in some more.
Absolutely,
I think it will.
And look, kudos to Walt Maddox and former Councilman Lee Garrison back in the day. Yeah. They knew that too, and so that investment in that amphitheater was a godsend for Tuscaloosa, and so they need to keep pushing that.
Yeah, we talked about it with Kip, like with Pop Strokes coming, like that's another thing that young people can go to, families can go to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Instead of like, let's move to Huntsville because there's more stuff out there.
Absolutely, you don't have to.
Like,
You got
more stuff around here to keep people here.
If you build it, they will come, and so. But anyway, I'm excited about being on this and kind of bringing a former chamber background to this music board in the conversations to talk about how can we use this music festival, how can we use this growing ecosystem to recruit and maintain and keep talent, not just in Huntsville, just keep it in Alabama.
Yeah, I agree.
I know I heard one of your previous episodes talking about that Alabama brain drain and all that. Just because Alabama gets a bad rap sometimes, and some of it's deserved. But I also think we've evolved a lot as a state.
I think we have, and I think we realize that we have to keep these people.
We do, we do. And so doing cool things like music and providing opportunities that you don't have to go to Atlanta or Austin to find.
Yeah,
that's what's going to be a game changer for us. And water parks. Yep.
Always slide that one in.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling y'all that the water park is going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
You do need to have podcast bingo though, and when you hit water park,
everybody drinks too.
Everybody drinks when you talk about water park.
I need some cards.
Oh, that would be great. So
it's a good idea. I might have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, your class is empty.
Sticking with Drip River.
Look at whatever.
I'm very impressed with this. I've heard y'all talk about this.
They sell a cask strength of it at the distillery also. I think it's 115, 120 proof.
Yeah.
What I found, I've been thinking about, like, my alcohol journey. From listening to the podcast, like thinking about stuff you drink and then how your taste changed
They do.
of your life. So, I was thinking my first drinking memory is in high school when Zima was popular. And I think my first hangover was off Zima. I'm probably going to get beat up when I leave here because I admitted I drank Zima. But,
I feel like I need to hit you right now.
Like 93, 94-ish. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
But then I became a big Ice House fan.
Yep.
Remember Ice
I remember
House
that.
beer?
Yep.
Like I was really into Ice House. But going into college, like, you go through these phases of stuff that, you drink the same kind of beer for like months and you buy stock in it. And you'd be like, all right, I'm done with that. I got to go to something else. But I never was a big liquor drinker. I loved beer, always drank beer. And then when I remember getting out of college, and I was like, I need to make myself learn how to drink liquor. And so I started drinking Old Forester. And I got to where I kind of liked it. It was mixed, but something, but I liked it. But then Sarah, my wife Sarah, always told me I smelled like an old man. You didn't know old man smell?
Right.
So, and I would, I'd puff on a cigarette every now and then too, so that just made it even worse. It just stunk. So I kind of quit drinking Old Forester. Then I really got into the craft beer scene. I loved craft beer. Yep. Obviously, being in Tuscaloosa when we had 3 breweries at one time, which was great, and I loved all 3 of them. But like the older I've gotten, the heavier it is. It's harder to drink a lot of just beer in general. It
is.
So I've kind of gotten back on being more of a liquor drinker.
And just calorie-wise, too.
And calorie-wise, I just feel full.
And you drink straight liquor, you're cutting out all the sugars
and
mixers and everything else.
I'm telling you, I've never had a hangover just drinking straight whiskey.
Really?
Or bourbon. I never have.
Yeah,
but when you mix it with the sugars and all,
the sugars is what gets you.
Yeah.
Or if you drink too much.
So my go-to now is my go-to drink if I'm at say a reception or at the bar or whatever is Makers and ginger ale. That's like my go-to.
I like that.
I can day drink that. I can sip on that. But if I go to a nice dinner, few and far between. I go to a nice dinner and I sit down and you have kind of like your pre-drink cocktails. Mm-hmm. Still to this day, my favorite drink in the world is a dirty Stoli martini.
Dirty martini is so good.
They are.
But Stoli, I like Stoli. But have a couple of those and then you can switch to bourbon or whatever. But it's just funny thinking back about how my drink taste have changed over the years. And the older you get, I think it kind of changes by necessity to some degree. So
yeah, I agree.
I could never sit and drink something neat until past couple of years probably.
Yeah.
And now because I'm, slam. Now it's enjoy the process.
It is.
What they put into the bottle and enjoy it instead
enjoy
of
the process
stuff. Another good drink, actually we got it from Soapy Jones, is a dirty martini but with tequila. It was basically just tequila and olives and a little bit of juice. And we asked her why. I'm like, why? She's like, because I wanted a snack. And I had to pay for the olives, but if I got tequila, they throw them in there for free. And actually, it was orange juice. With orange juice, I'm sorry. So like a tequila sunrise, no grenadine, but with olives. It's actually pretty good. I tried it a few nights.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's good though.
But I trust Soapy, so
yeah,
it's good. Like she said, I wanted a snack. I had to pay extra. So I was like, just give me a tequila sunrise, no grenadine, throw some olives in there. Pretty good.
All right, I have to try that.
And Tuscaloosa has some great characters like Soapy, Bo. I mean, that just create a scene that are just
absolutely
people that you wouldn't meet anywhere else.
Yeah. And they are so community oriented. I mean, they don't go to a lot of the chamber stuff.
No,
but it's a whole different community.
That's like me.
We're always great chamber supporters, and I appreciate
that group.
Bo and I
Jalapeno supports the chamber.
Very much so. Top of the
don't
list.
Go to drink with me.
Bo was always good to work with on things, and I adore Soapy. She runs a great business.
Yeah.
So, one thing, and I certainly put y'all in this category, not blowing sunshine up your skirts, but you are giving me alcohol, so I will blow sunshine up your skirts.
Perfect.
To, keep the drinks flowing. But
send you a Venmo request later.
but I put Bo in this category and Soapy and all that. It's really easy to start something. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's really easier to grow something.
Yeah.
The hard part is to sustain something that's successful.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But Eat My Beats has done that. Jalapenos has most certainly done that.
Yeah.
Druid City has done that.
Yeah.
I was talking to
because you're dealing with a different energy level. When you start something, you've got this
massive energy.
You've got this massive energy, drive, momentum.
It's exciting.
Growing it because you've got a new opportunity, you got a new location, you got a new festival coming up, whatever. That drives you. But the ho-hum, day-to-day minutia, the just normal grind, the payroll, dealing with HR issues, the horrible part of running a business, but it's a necessary evil. Those that can sustain success, even when it's not exciting and sexy and new and cool and all that, that's what separates successful business people and the majority who aren't successful.
Yeah.
So,
that's what I was talking to
so kudos to both of y'all for your
always
respective businesses for that.
We were talking because we're doing online orders now for jalapenos.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you believe, we're looking at the figures. I'm like, we just started that a week ago. I was like, remember, we used to not do catering. We used to not open on Sundays. Me and Joanne kind of like, they had to grow and adjust, and market changes. People start opening
And
Sundays,
adapt to customer needs.
I think that's a key to being a successful business is being able to adapt and change.
Man, that's kind of what we did with Boozy Spirits.
I was going to say, this podcast is no different.
Like I told you, we were going to review stuff. But then we start, let's start getting guests on. And let's start kind of changing how we do things. And
you just have no idea. You have no.
Then we do a phenomenal review and have to take it down. It kind of takes the wind out of yourself.
But for me, having local people on is,
yeah, it's fun.
It is, and it makes me happy.
Well, and you talked about this, on one with Ryan, and maybe he was overserved. I don't know, but
I drove him. So
I love my man Ryan. Shout out to you, Ryan.
He is awesome.
You my dog. I love that guy. But he was right though, talking about this being another outlet locally for people to hear a message. Y'all talked about this a lot. Journalism's changed dramatically just in the last few years. There's not, just kind of go to local news every day. What Ryan's doing is awesome.
What they're doing over at the Thread is awesome.
Yep.
Key News, their business models change and all that. But people are still hungry for news. People are still hungry to hear from their leaders. They're still hungry to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And if they can do it and have a laugh too, even better. So
that is better in this day and time.
Well, even like my mom said, she watched the Waltz episode. She's like, I like him now. All I knew he was a Democrat, and I didn't really like him. I watched his episode, like he's likable.
Yeah, it's 100%.
I think you see a different side of people.
Yeah, for sure.
You do, and having a conversation like this, and through the kind of new medium, like I feel like a boomer saying that, but a podcast or watching it on YouTube as opposed to reading a newspaper or even whatever. It's just a different way. But I think you guys have really actually got this unique opportunity, in addition to reviewing alcohol and having a good time, really kind of becoming a go-to source of information, but doing it in a fun, compelling way. We were talking earlier about that Smartless podcast and all that. Started off with some famous buddies that wanted to get together and just joke on each other and have a good time, and it's taken off like a rocket.
Yeah, it has.
Well, maybe one day me and Matt will take off.
Yeah.
So we'll sign a $100 million deal.
Yeah, amen to that. But anyway, it's cool. It's cool to have kind of a local. It's cool to have a local conversation about things. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, what is what's the feedback been from John Q. Citizen? You see, I'm sure your old friends you have and all that have listened.
I think the biggest one would be, man, I love y'all's podcast. Did you listen to Jen's episode? I hadn't heard that one yet. Which one's that? I just listened to the first one. I'm like, you didn't really listen to all of them.
It takes time for people to pick up.
But I think our target market from the most response is middle-aged white guys.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't have time to just sit there.
Wonder why that's the case.
Just sit there and listen.
Because we are one.
Exactly.
And then we've done some little quick reviews and try to throw them out on YouTube and stuff and get some feedback, not locally, just globally, wherever. Yeah. You get a bunch of assholes on there making fun of us. Y'all don't know what you're talking about, but I was like, you're not gonna hurt my feelings.
That's true. We got very thick skin.
There's 8 billion podcasts. It's not for everybody.
It's not.
We're not sophisticated. We're not gonna sit here and be like, this tastes like wet carpet, little pavement. We're it's pretty good. Y'all should buy it. It's good. It's a good drink.
We will tell you honestly if something is good, and I think this Red River is good. It's really good.
It's very good, and that's as qualified as I am to speak on it beyond that.
And that's an Alabama distillery that's creating this kind of freaking juice. I mean, it's
very good.
Yeah.
And it's just going to get better, I think.
Yeah.
They hired a guy from Pennsylvania who's their head distiller now. Josh, call him the Juice Man.
Juice Man.
That's why he came on the podcast. Yeah, people call me the Juice Man. They're like, nobody has ever called you that. He's like, I've been thinking about it all day.
But he's a Juice Man now.
So we ran. You're stuck with it now.
But how cool is it, though, just thinking about how far, I know y'all have talked before about the Free the Hops and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was a massive fight for a long time in the state. To now, you've got Alabama-made distillers.
I think 5 years from now, you'll have an Alabama Bourbon Trail. I truly believe
I agree with that, too.
Have that.
I agree.
And if the tourism gets behind it, I think it'll be huge for the state.
Well, think about what's done for Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
I
mean, that's one of the things that are on the map for.
They have one in Birmingham. If you had one in Huntsville, one in Tuscaloosa, one in Fairhope, you can, like you said, go.
Is there a distillery in Huntsville?
There are a couple of the breweries that have started doing it too. Yellowhammer, for example.
Yep,
That's the one that I know of specifically. I went to an event there a few months ago and was drinking, their beer.
Yep.
And then I look up and I saw that they had a whiskey, they had a vodka, and they had some maybe a rum. I don't remember. And I tasted the vodka and bourbon, I think.
So they probably have the same thing like Dread River told us that at their distillery tasting room, they can only sell what they make.
I think that's right.
So they can't have Bud Light. So they actually have beer too. He's like, we have to make our own beer to sell beer in our bar.
That's interesting.
Because we can't sell Bud Light or anything else.
And if you're a brewery in Alabama, you can distill liquors.
Okay.
Which is great.
Because again, Yellowhammer's been doing beer for a long time, but then they've gotten into this.
Hey, let's try something different.
There may be more. I just hadn't stumbled upon it yet. Right. But it's just cool that Alabama's come a long way in a very short period of time to we're fighting over craft beer of all things.
Right.
Yeah. So now we're making our own whiskey.
Yeah, it is. Let them try some chard.
And then the cannabis will flow soon enough too. I mean,
that was the next question.
We've come a long way. Again, I'm an open book here.
Try this next. This is Bama Shines. We did a review on it.
Straight from downtown Bowledge.
Excuse me?
Actually, it's not downtown. It's kind of in the outskirts of Bowledge. It's like the suburbs.
So this is from Bowledge. It's a moonshine. They have the White Lightning, and then this is a chard.
But their chard is definitely
It's good.
It's their jam. So when you finish that.
So I mean, is this like old school moonshiner kind of operation?
It is
going on.
It's legal. They sell it. It's legal to buy. They got it in some package stores. We're going down Super Bowl.
No ABC yet, but
no ABC, but it's through ABC like everything is.
Yeah. So you had to.
Where do I have my glasses? That's interesting.
He's a character.
He is a character.
We're gonna go visit him, shoot a hog.
Yeah, we're gonna be there Super Bowl Sunday for a tour of the distillery.
You need to do the show there.
We're going to.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what we got this whole setup for. We're gonna do it.
What's the other one? I don't see the bottle up here, but what's the bourbon that's out of South Alabama, maybe around Troy?
That is Clyde Mays.
Clyde Mays. That's exactly.
And they're building a huge freaking.
I like Clyde Mays.
Yeah, they've been doing good stuff too.
I guess that was the first Alabama product. Yeah, I was like, wow, this is pretty good.
Yeah, they're building a huge distillery. It's going to have the biggest still in Alabama. So.
And then there's a bunch of little independent ones too.
All right, let's try this.
I'll take this little. You have to super glue this back on.
So Justin, me and Justin.
Ooh, that smells good. Yeah, good. Yeah. And what's in this?
That's moonshine that's been aged in a bourbon barrel.
Yep. In Bologey.
It is. I'm getting it a little. It's really good. What's funny? We talked about it on the show, and then he actually saw it. He actually saw the clip and loved it. We've been talking to him, and
he's a character.
He's a disabled vet.
Woo! Man, I'm gonna be hearing in colors here in a few minutes.
Twice distilled on the banks of the Black Warrior River in the heart of Alabama.
It's twice distilled?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just beautiful smell to it.
God, that's good. I mean, to be made out of the back of somebody's pickup truck, that's pretty good.
90 proof.
Yeah. Wow. Bologey, Alabama, representing. I'm impressed.
I mean, how's Bologey making liquor and we're not making spirits?
Making good liquor too.
Yeah. And Tuscaloosa's not. We're about to do this.
I was gonna say, I think that's your next venture.
100%.
I can market it. Maybe. Calm me down some, I'll try.
Yeah. So when we open our place, we're opening a place.
Yes, I was going to ask you.
That's going to be very music oriented.
Yes.
We're music like you.
Yep.
So you got to come. Open the
man, I will be there with bells on.
All right. And since you're on the music board in Huntsville, anybody that we need in Tuscaloosa that's coming through town or whatever, make that happen.
Yeah.
Get us that connection.
Now that kind of in this new role, and I kind of put my time toward passion projects. I know y'all, talked about that before. Kind of getting more involved in the music scene. I'd love to see Alabama's music ecosystem grow, not just Huntsville, but
for sure.
Obviously I've got a huge affinity for the Shoals, being a North Alabama graduate and all that. But that Muscle Shoals history is just.
It's crazy.
People will come from around the world to go to Fame Studios in Muscle Shoals.
And rightfully so.
But there's people that live a mile from it that don't care anything about it. It's no different than Alabama and Bryant-Denny Stadium here for us. But
they don't appreciate what they have.
And everybody's guilty of that. But I mean, there's so much musical heritage in this state that I think we could really connect the dots instead of all these communities kind of doing it as a silo.
Right.
We need to be, and state tourism has done some stuff, to try to highlight that a little bit, but communities could really join forces on that.
You could have with the urban music trail, have it all connected where you can go to a music festival in Huntsville, go to this distillery, drive down to Tuscaloosa,
100%.
See a football game, go to this distillery, Bologey, go all the way down the beach, go to
it would be great. And
all kind of stuff.
And again, I'm biased about Tuscaloosa, but there's such a fertile ground here, I think, for more of that. So when you get done with your project, I think that's going to be a home run. Just because it's going to give another venue for artists to come and play. And
I think just the whole, how we were talking earlier, culture, everything's changing. Just like Kyle mentioned where jalapenos the other day, he's like, I would never sit here a couple years ago and drink. Now I'm saying, hey, what's up? Having a drink.
Yeah.
He's like, it's changing.
It's just,
And I even talked to my dad about, when I first started, you can see this tattoo stops here. Don't show your tattoos. That's unprofessional.
Yeah,
that's true.
Now I got tattoo all the way down. Nobody cares anymore. But 10 years ago, it was
show him or get your newest tattoo.
What's that?
Your new one.
I'll show you later.
Nice.
Me and Mac will get matching ones.
Is his tramp?
I don't have a single tattoo yet.
Is his tramp stamp bigger than yours?
No, yeah. I don't have one. I thought about it. I got a Sharpie.
You don't have a tattoo?
I don't have a
Should
single
do one on the
tattoo.
show.
Yeah, we need to.
I got tattoo artists. He'll come.
Okay.
That'd be sweet.
I like it.
And you just sit here and scream in pain the whole
As long
show.
as I'm drinking, I think I can do it.
You can't drink when you do it. It thins your blood. You bleed more.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
I'm serious. That's why they say.
That'd be good for your old ticker, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Do not drink alcohol because it thins the blood. So they're sitting there tattooing you, and you'll bleed more. That's why you don't need to take aspirin or nothing like that when you're getting a tattoo. Cause
What about a gummy? Could you do a gummy?
Yeah, absolutely. You're good.
Okay.
It's encouraged.
Yeah.
So gummies with cannabis stuff, you think it's going to happen in Alabama?
I do.
I know they already passed it, but it hadn't got the framework or whatever it is for it.
I mean, the medicinal thing, and look, that's a no-brainer. You can get into a philosophical debate or a moral debate about that all day, every day, but it's hypocritical to be against that, but then everybody going to the trough for pharmaceuticals at the drugstore, which is a hell of a lot worse.
That's what I was talking to Dad about yesterday. He said one of his friends, like, hey, you need to try this Delta 8 gummy. I have no pain. I sleep good at night because he has all kind of pain problems.
Yeah.
So he was talking to me. He's like, I bought some. Can I take it? I'm like, no. Because if you go for your pain pills and they test you and you have THC, they're going to cut you off. He's like, does it? I was like, no, it doesn't differentiate. If it's weed or if it's Delta 8, it pops up as THC. Yeah. I was like, so, ask your doctor first. Like, for him, it sucks. Yeah. I was like, you can legally buy them, but he can't take them. Because he's taking pain pills, so that's a no-no.
Right.
Look, we got a lot of substance abuse problems in this country, and a lot of problems. Marijuana is at the very, very, very the last thing that we should worry about. It's the opioid epidemic.
Oh yeah. That's what a buddy
a million times worse than marijuana.
I've never been on a call with somebody high on marijuana that tried to kill me. Never.
No, that's true.
He's like meth, opioids, crack, cocaine, everything. They want to kill you. Weed, they're just like, take me.
So
I did it. Take me to jail.
Yeah, I was speeding.
So the medicinal part of that is just a no-brainer. There's people that need that help, and we need to get it to them and get out of our own way.
But can the state figure out how to do it correctly? Because I mean,
you've seen like what 2-3 years ago they passed it.
Yeah, and they've tried to issue licenses.
It's a challenge. I think Ryan's one that said take one step forward, 8 steps back. Yes. I know it's been a problem because it's so politicized. I do think they'll get that figured out, and once they see that the medicinal effects are so positive and it helps so many people, that we will slowly get there. Now, we may be the last state in the union.
Of course we will.
That from a recreational standpoint, but I do think everybody's headed that way. Just that. Gaming, everything else. Yeah. There'll be a big fight about it. There'll be outside influences, good and bad, on it. But then when it's done and it's taxed and it's regulated and all that, everybody will just go back to their normal life.
I agree.
And in a lot of ways, I mean, I could see crime going down, petty theft, incarceration, etc. Because a lot of those folks that are getting their fixes illegally some other way,
like Darius Rucker, he just got busted.
Yeah, might. I saw it
in Nashville.
Might back off on it.
And think of those tax dollars, what they could do for education. Because Alabama, in education,
look. We live in far north Alabama now, and
is it better than Tuscaloosa?
It's just
education-wise. High school.
They're both good. Yeah, my daughter's at Huntsville High School, freshman. It's a huge school, and she's getting a great education. But she also came there very prepared.
Right.
Like she hadn't skipped a beat from going from Tuscaloosa to Huntsville. So I'm so proud of that. I'm very, very proud of that. That was the biggest concern of your family.
Because that's a hard age to
and it was part of our timing. We were coming out of the 8th grade, and so we were like, if we're going to make this move, we got to do it right now. Because we're not going to uproot her during high school. So it's now or 4 years from now at the least.
Yeah.
But she was a thriving 14-year-old girl, grades,
she's very social,
athletic, social, strong in her faith, everything you'd ever want from your kid. And I was like, the last thing a dad wants to do is screw up a highly functioning 14-year-old girl, but she is.
Because that's rare.
It's been seamless. She's doing great.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, going back to the point of North Alabama though, is that when there's the lottery gets up to a big amount, you can drive across the state line into Tennessee.
Wait hours to get
and you see gas stations that are just slammed, and every damn license plate in that parking lot is from Alabama.
Yeah, that's true.
That is us sending.
Respond to that.
Well, I wasn't.
Exactly.
That's
our Mississippi, our
story
Georgia.
of my life, Siri. But seriously, we're sending kids to school in other states. We're paying for
college
services in other states. So by us, standing on our moral high ground and saying it's a tax on the poor, it's It's immoral.
And it is.
It's immoral.
But still, they're going to do it.
But by us saying that, people aren't going to go do it. Well, if we don't allow it, it won't happen. That's just ignorant.
It is.
That's blinders on.
Well, the same thing I always tell people when they're talking about cannabis, or like, if you legalize weed, everybody's going to be driving around stoned. I'm like, one, they are anyway. I was like, two, like, look at all this behind us. Like, we could turn off the camera and sit here and just pound shots and go drive.
And people do it every day.
People do it all the time, you know?
Or
I was like, it doesn't mean
opioids or prescription drugs,
but
whatever.
For some reason, people are so against weed. Like, if you legalize it, everybody's going to be high, driving around. What about your kids? I'm like, I'm scared for my kids now because people can drink anything, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I've got a daughter who's about to start driving. That's
Get new poison back there.
And we don't have any here, but in honor of Ryan Phillips, if you had $3 and you're about to die, what would you drink?
I agree.
What now?
If you had $4 and you're about to die, what's your last drink?
That's probably the holy water from church.
That's Ryan's question.
Show him your video. I'm not. No.
What's the Jason Sudeikis show? He's a soccer coach. Why have I gone blank on that? Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
yes.
You watched the Ted Lasso?
Oh, yeah.
You know the other coach with the beard?
Yeah.
You look just like him with your eyes the way they are right there. Just blitzed out of your mind.
Blitzed out.
All right. So this is Traveler by Chris Stapleton, really?
Yeah. We'll cut back into it, cut my part out.
All right. So this is Traveler by Chris Stapleton.
A lot of people give it shit
because it's,
you know, Chris Stapleton. He said he was sober. It's a Buffalo Trace with Buffalo Trace, the master distiller Harlan Wheatley. So him and Chris got together, a bunch of drinks. Let's figure out, but they won't tell you what's in it. So you don't know if it's Buffalo Trace, Pappy, Sazerac, if it's vodka. They just say it's a blended whiskey. So a lot of assholes are like, it's Wheatley vodka with food coloring. It's bottom shelf. You know, they just relabeled it. I think it's fantastic.
I think it's extremely smooth.
It is. Like, it doesn't have a whole lot of back burn to it, but I love it.
It's 90%.
I think we got like 25,000 views on our review on it. And everybody's like, oh, y'all are stupid. That's a horrible whiskey. I'm like, Matt always
freaking smooth.
Matt always calls me a snob, and I love it.
I'm not sophisticated enough to know whether it's good or not. My palate says, do you like this or not?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I like this.
If they came out and said, hey, this is bottom shelf, it's gross, we relabeled it to make money off of it, I still like it.
Have you been able to get it in Alabama yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
They're supposed to get it in Alabama.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I like it. Somebody said it's like the lowest benchmark whiskey, and they just relabeled it because they couldn't sell it and stuff. I'm like,
but benchmark's good whiskey.
It is good.
I mean,
I think it's just mostly just haters online. They're like, you know, they have this sophisticated palate, and they're like, it's weak. It doesn't have any burn. It doesn't have this. I like it.
Had this conversation the other day. We were talking about wine. Now I like red wine. That's about the only kind I like. But talking about if you did a blind taste test on wine, but if you had, say, the dollar amount labeled like even the most sophisticated snobs are going to say, oh, the higher dollar one's better and all that. I mean, at the end of the day, drink what you like.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which I've mentioned it.
I'll drink $20 Mayomi Pinot.
Yeah.
I'll put that up against anything. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
We mentioned it numerous times on this podcast, but I did blind testing with my buddy. I gave him some Pappy 23. I mean, that's like, for like a little shot of that, that's like $200-300.
Oh, sure.
He tastes it. It tastes like shit. What is this? I showed him. He's like, ain't no way. I was like, if I would have put that bottle and poured it, you'd be like, that's the best stuff I ever had.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It's that placebo effect.
Have you, I guess maybe during these conversations, have you stumbled upon some real bourbon and whiskey aficionados here in this town? Because I know there's a lot here.
Oh, there's definitely
There's a lot here.
Yeah.
I know some folks here in Tuscaloosa that have got incredible stock at their house. And which always, the only time I've ever had Pappy was went over to a friend's house in the towns in Tuscaloosa and went to his basement and was like, heard music as I walked down there because of all that. But Pappy, but it's just a cool experience. So there's a lot of folks here that have got really, I mean, no telling how much money tied into that.
Yeah, I agree. We need to get those people on.
We do.
Yeah.
I think the best ones, like, not toot my own horn, like myself, like, I don't advertise it, what I have. I know some people like always posting pictures, just look what I got, look what I have, Like, those aren't the true aficionados.
No.
They're the true ones.
A lot of people you don't know even drink bourbon.
Yeah.
But they have, like, serious.
Yeah. Get some of those guys on here would be good. And
yeah.
I showed Jim my collection.
And I'm only a year into the bourbon journey. Last year I went to Buffalo Trace and I started drinking.
Here's my dining room.
Good Lord.
It just started.
Yeah. That's his dining room.
Wow. I've got a guy I went to college. I hadn't seen him since I moved back to
I keep watching. It's still going.
Oh, wow.
That's our tequila section. This is the jalapenos test kitchen, I call it. That's where I come up with all the cocktails and whatnot.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I mean,
I
seriously.
got stuff all on the other side, everywhere.
That's easily $200 or $300 in liquor.
Probably about 500.
Sure, yeah. I'm going to light some match. But there's a guy I went to college with. I haven't seen him since I moved back to Huntsville, but I've been told he's got, it's essentially a wine cellar, but it's for bourbon, and he's got a pretty significant insurance rider.
I can imagine.
Just on that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think my 4 or 5 bottles, justify that or not.
Exactly.
But, when you have an insurance rider on it, you got a collection.
I should probably get one of those.
You definitely
After
should.
seeing that video,
Yeah.
let's think about that.
Most of mine are, I don't know how you can insure because most of mine are open. So I don't know if once you open it, if it's insurable maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. So that's my problem. I open everything. Like if you come to my house, like, can I try? Like, yeah, try it. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's how mad it is too. Like, whatever. If it's not open, open it.
Exactly. I mean, that's what it's meant to be drank.
That's
what I'm saying. Why have it?
I've had a few people come over like, try some Pappy. No. I'm like, you never had it? Try it.
Yeah.
Man, that's expensive. Like, I don't care. Like, you've never had it. That's what it's for.
I've got one bottle of liquor that I haven't opened and I probably won't. Is our good friends Richard and Kelsey Rush when we left got me a Maker's bottle that's got Tuscaloosa on it.
Yeah,
and I was like, I can't drink that. I gotta keep that reserved. But
you can drink it and fill it up with something else.
Yeah, I guess I could. Pour this cheap traveler in there, right?
Yeah, you could.
Keep the bottle for sure.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Like some people, if they're like, "Hey, I got a Pappy when my daughter graduates college, I'm gonna open," like stuff like that. It's like, okay, that's
I'm all in on that.
I'm all for that. But just because, like, no, I'm not gonna open it because it's expensive. Like, open it.
Yeah.
So my wife always gives me crap. Like, you're walking from the mailbox trying it out. I'm like, yeah, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah,
that's what Kyle's got all kind of stuff. He won't open it.
Really?
Oh, he's gonna open it.
He is gonna open it.
Yeah.
He's like, I like getting the whole collection of Wellers or Pappies and just like drink
And
it.
I get that. I have a whole collection of Wellers or whatever.
But then drink it when you get
Right.
it.
I'm gonna give her. I like drink whatever. I don't care.
Get a backup and drink that.
Giovanni would come to my house and get the most expensive bottle I have over there and pouring it while I'm not paying attention.
I didn't realize until y'all opened the downtown location of Jalapenos and decided it was going to be focused on tequila, and it was going to be 60 or 80 or something kinds of tequila rich. And I was like, "There's that many tequilas, and now we all have 200 or something."
260.
That's
and there's probably still another. I don't know. I'd probably say close to 100 that I haven't gotten yet because I have to buy them by the case. So it's hard to buy a whole case of 6 or 12 to sell it.
I just had no clue there was that much.
Yeah.
Oh, there's probably thousands. Not in Alabama, just.
And if you've thrown up enough off the tequila in your past, you don't want it really outside of a margarita.
But this tequila right here.
Well, I was gonna say that when y'all first opened, you got me to, and then Giovanni got me to sip on some other tequila.
Yeah. I got Kyle to the other night.
And it was eye-opening. I was like, I didn't know tequila could taste this good.
That was one of my. I'm marked out off my bucket list. Kyle was like, I don't drink tequila because I threw up on it.
Exactly. We've all got that story.
I brought him some addict tea, but I'm like, try this one. I don't like tequila. I'm like, try it. He loved it. Giovanni shows up. He's like, oh, you're drinking tequila? I've been trying for 2 years.
To get you.
Like, there you go.
But I think tequila is the new whiskey.
It is.
I mean, I think it's the new trend as far as craft.
It's making a big surge.
Liquor.
This would be my ignorance coming out, but your body metabolizes tequila faster. Is that right?
I don't really know
if I've heard that.
I haven't heard
Surely
that.
I didn't make that up.
It sounds good.
I like it. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know.
You need to put that on your menu.
There we go. I like
Yeah, whether it's true or not.
I know they did it a lot.
The gospel according to Jim is drinking tequila is good for you.
A lot in the 1800s they did it like the Spanish flu because they're like, it kills germs, it does this, it helps.
Oh, I didn't know to kill a lot of that. But I don't know why maybe I dreamed that. That your body somehow metabolizes that quicker.
It might. I don't know. I think it's all the same, but let's see.
I think anybody who's ever
Sorry,
drank has
listeners, I probably just gave
terrible, terrible advice there. But
I think anybody that's ever drank has a tequila story.
Yeah,
and it usually doesn't end good.
I still feel that way about rum too.
Yeah.
Oof. Ugh.
All alcohol gets metabolized at the same rate.
Well, you don't have that rum here, do you?
Boy, I did pull that out of my rear. I don't know where.
I like it. I'm when you start using that.
Yeah.
I know I didn't make
it.
That
Doesn't
up.
have to be. It doesn't have to be true. Trump. I mean, it doesn't have to be true. You just say it.
I said it, so therefore it's true.
Oh, you know we're expanding downtown.
Expanding in downtown.
They're doubling in size.
Yeah.
Where
you got jalapenos and Jack Browns, and there's an open spot in between us.
Okay.
We're expanding that way.
Okay.
We're gonna cut 2 holes in the wall, have a big bar, high top tables, a little event space.
Fantastic. And you've always wanted to have glory holes in your restaurant, so that's
absolutely.
good.
Some big ones. So that's in March. I just wanted one. Giovanni wanted 2 glory holes.
He did.
Yeah.
He likes to.
Yeah, that's good. If you're gonna have one, have 2.
I agree.
That's what we should have that at the sanctuary. The glory holes. Wow. Nikki probably veto it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
We just took a turn.
That's what next door looks like right now.
No, that's fantastic.
It'll double our space. Have more. We turned down so many Christmas parties and stuff this year because we can't close the restaurant and tell all the waiters, "Hey, y'all leave. We just need 2 of y'all."
Oh, first time Giovanni ever showed me that space, we were looking at it. I was like, "You are going to absolutely kill it."
Yeah.
And you have since day one.
Yeah. So I think that's the next phase of it, to expand. Our bar only has 8 seats now, 7, 8 seats. So now we can have like a 30-seat bar.
And I've always got 1 seat there, usually.
Yeah.
So that's 7.
Jalapenos is one of the first places I ate when I got the job in January of 12 and came to Tuscaloosa. And it was the first week on the job. When the first time I met Giovanni, was the one out by the lake. And a couple days after that, and I ate the fajita gumbo and thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever eaten in my life. A couple days later, there was a Planet Weekly or one of those little magazines back in the day, if you remember that.
Yep.
Did a little human interest piece on me as the new chamber guy or whatever, and then asked me, "Well, what's your favorite restaurant?" And I hadn't really eaten many places yet. And I was like, "Oh hell, I'm gonna get in trouble. Anything I say." Yeah. But I mentioned jalapenos and fajita gumbo. So to this day, one of my claims to fame is if you pull out your phone right now and Google,
it pulls up your picture.
Fajita gumbo.
Really?
Watch
the first page of Google.
Watch this shit. See if it's still
my very young, pre-gray-haired picture is on there.
That's awesome.
So it's funny. To this day, I'll tell my daughter, I'll go, "Yeah, Google fajita gumbo." It's still me. She's mortified by it, embarrassed when I show her friends. But I'm like, yeah, I'm on page 1 of the search.
That's freaking awesome.
Hey, look, you type in fajita gumbo.
Fajita gumbo.
I didn't put Tuscaloosa.
Right.
Just fajita gumbo.
Fajita gumbo. A little bit of scrolling. Here it comes.
You've already passed me, man. I'm up higher.
There you go.
Bam.
Yeah, but holy shit, you look like you're 18.
No, I just look a lot older now.
So is
that when you started?
Gumbo.
You were that fucking young.
You
were young.
I was 33.
Holy shit.
This glorious chamber, this glorious community aged me.
So where'd you come from originally? Before you came to the chamber? Where were you? Out of Florence?
No. So
where'd you work before that?
So I was with the chamber in Decatur.
Okay.
For 9 years before I came here. Stumbled into that job a couple years out of college. I worked in Montgomery in politics and wasn't very happy. Came back to North Alabama. Ironically, was going through the interview process for a pharmaceutical sales position. That industry I was not going to
say that. I could say that.
Would have been good money, but it wouldn't have been my passion. But a great friend of mine at the time worked for a congressman in North Alabama and said, "Hey, the Chamber of Commerce in Decatur is starting a governmental affairs role. You need to look into it." And I went, "I don't know much about Decatur, and what does the Chamber of Commerce do?" I mean, I knew they had big scissors, and that was kind of the extent of it. But I wasn't crazy about the pharmaceutical sales thing, so I went over to Decatur and interviewed and got the job, and had been in it like 3 days, and came home and told Sarah, we weren't married then, but came over to her. I was like, I found what I want to do. Because it was doing politics and all that, but I didn't have to live in Montgomery.
Yeah.
I didn't have to live in D.C. Loved it, so I did that 9 years, but was ready for the next step. You know, so they say a lot of times in business you have to move out to move up. And my boss, mentor, second father to this day to me, wasn't going anywhere at the chamber. And so I was like, I need to look elsewhere. And that's when the Tuscaloosa job opened up right after the tornado. And I was young. I was 33. I was and look younger than that. But shout out to Dr. Witt, Lynn Moore, Mark Sullivan, some of those Fitzgerald, some of those leaders back in the day. They're the ones that interviewed me, and I was pretty upfront with them about my age. I was like, look, I have nothing I can do about the fact I'm young, but I do feel like I'm experienced. I've got energy, new perspective, and all that.
That's what they needed.
And so I appreciate it. They got some knocks for hiring some wet behind the ears kid that didn't know Tuscaloosa to come in and run it, but I'll forever be grateful for it. And I felt like the chamber needed kind of that change of pace at the time.
Yeah,
so
definitely made an impact, made a difference.
It was awesome. But I came here not really knowing anybody. I knew Walt a little bit. We had gone through a leadership group together. I knew Donnie Jones at the chamber. We had known each other through the chamber world and all that. But I didn't really know many people. And again, 11 years later, it was hard to leave because it had become home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a great place, and and it's funny, I would say in meetings years ago when football team was winning national championship every year and we're constantly having new things being built and all that, I remember saying to folks, these are the good old days.
Yes.
Like, let's not take this for granted.
Exactly.
These are the good old days. It won't always be like that. But even though Coach Saban has now announced his retirement and there is a lot of change, I firmly believe this community's best days are still ahead of it.
100%.
100%.
Yes.
We survived the tornadoes, survived COVID. A foundation's been built, whether it's, again, Alabama football or basketball or just the cool factor in the community. There's this foundation that's been built that's just going to keep going up. What you're doing with your music venues, awesome.
Sure. What
you guys are doing to continue to expand.
Yep.
You still have great leadership. Other communities are kind of getting on the same page and all that. And that was always this community's biggest Achilles heel. Y'all know I was candid about it when I was at the chamber that everybody needed to start working together, not a circular firing squad.
Yeah.
And I even from afar, I can see that continuing to get better.
Yeah.
Everybody working together. And so I still think this place is just going like gangbusters, and I think it's going to for a long, long time. People want to be here.
I hope you're right. I really do, because I feel like Huntsville is leading right now.
Yeah, it's different. It's got a
it's
got a different.
It's got a whole different vibe.
It's got a different vibe. It's a different industrial base and all that.
It's not student based as far as university and that kind of stuff. Tuscaloosa's got to keep those people.
Yeah, that's
some of them.
That's the key. Yeah, just you have this unique opportunity of bringing in all these people from around the country and around the world that come here and fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Would like to stay.
Oh, yeah.
They just got to have reasons to stay from a job and cool things to do and all that. And all the things you need to do to keep them here, y'all are doing it.
I feel like we are.
It's
awesome.
Essentially,
you have good restaurants, you got entertainment, pop strokes, you got music venues like Matt's trying to do. Like, let's just stay here instead of let's go to Huntsville because they got music, they got this, they got that stuff to do on the weekends. Like, we can stay here and do that stuff too.
I think music, and I'm not just saying this, I think music is a huge.
It is
to keep people.
Yeah.
I think original music is huge.
Original music is key to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I love about what Matt's doing with this music board in Huntsville is obviously you've got the Orion and the VBC, to get big acts in.
Yeah.
But how do you take the really talented folks that are in that Tennessee Valley area, or how do you go get this up and comer that's a nothing in Nashville? But if they had a little bit of attention shined on them in a different market, maybe they could really take off. Yeah. That's really what he's trying to do is grow that ecosystem. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, though, it's driving the economy.
It is. Oh, yeah, it is.
It's not only attracting talent, keeping talent, but people that say, "Hey, I got a long weekend. I don't have to go to Nashville. Mm-hmm. I can go to Huntsville, Alabama, of all places, or I can go to Tuscaloosa, and it's not a football weekend. Right. I'm going to go to Tuscaloosa this weekend and eat in these great restaurants, drink in these great breweries, and I'm going to go hear some really authentic music.
We have to do a little bit better on our amphitheater as far as booking stuff.
Yeah. Which maybe it'll be with the Mercedes.
I feel like it will.
Should be.
I do too.
We need up and coming instead of going down. You know what I'm saying?
I think you can do both.
You can do both. But we need more up and comers here in Tuscaloosa.
And I think if you just upped the frequency,
I agree.
Don't just open it up when you've got
a big name.
Ryan's Travis Tritt, for example. Don't just open it up for that. Those big shows are good, but do a Wednesday night show with a couple of up and coming bands, and
if you sell half of it,
maybe you only sell half of it, but
you can give the other half away.
But when artists think that, hey, this is a community that appreciates what we're doing,
I agree.
When that artist becomes the next Isbell, they're going to remember
it's a beautiful
who
place
supported them.
Yeah.
And they're going to come back.
It's a beautiful place to have
it's an incredible place.
You're out there on the friggin' river with the train tracks.
Dude, when it's a beautiful night and that train's coming by slow and all that, that's about as cool as it gets.
And we need to have Boozy Spirits should be in the green room interviewing them.
We need to get Kay on here.
Yeah, she's done an incredible job.
Yeah.
So you got the infrastructure built.
Yeah.
And when you add additional smaller venues like you're talking about, this could become a real mecca for artists that want to go somewhere where good music is appreciated.
And I talked to somebody the other day, like, I remember when I was in college, like, football was king. In the summer, winter, nothing happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we actually have events going on, which I think the Chamber, Visit Tuscaloosa are helping
Absolutely.
get more stuff happening, which it used to not be that way.
Every weekend in this community can be a tourism event.
Yeah.
But you got a college town that's 40,000 students. Head and Heart should be playing there every year. Every freaking year. Revivalists every year.
When they play down on the Strip, that's one of the best shows I saw the whole time I was in Tuscaloosa. And there weren't many of us in there that night.
There wasn't.
But it was
surprisingly. But it was
great
crazy.
show.
Yeah.
You just got to do more than that. But
yeah,
this every single weekend in Tuscaloosa, because of how cool this place is, can be a tourism event. Kelsey Rush, who I adore like a sister, she knows that better than anybody. And
she gets it.
The things they're doing, and whether it's art, whether it's music, whether it's food, drink.
It all plays on each other.
Other athletics at the university.
Yeah. I think their whole team too. They got Chelsea Barton now. That was a home run.
They've got the whole team's amazing. They got an all-star team, but
just bringing stuff in.
The infrastructure's here. Tuscaloosa has things, amenities that other communities a lot bigger would give anything to have.
You're right.
Would give anything to have. You just gotta leverage them. And part of it.
I agree with you. And they don't have the largest tequila bar in the South either.
This has been great, and despite the fact we're in your basement, and when I sat down, I felt like I was filming a hostage video.
Thank you. You feel like
this has been a great vibe.
That's next.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on. I know you got stuff to do and babies to kiss and all that fun stuff.
Man, I'm just here to enjoy this place, spend some money, enjoy some more drinks, cheer on the tide.
It's stay